She told her daughter she was fine. She said it on the phone every Sunday, in the same warm voice she'd used for 50 years. "I'm fine, honey. Don't worry about me." And her daughter believed her, because she wanted to, and because her mother sounded exactly like she always had. Then one morning, a neighbor called instead. Her mother had been found sitting in her car in the driveway at 6 in the morning, engine running, unable to remember whether she was leaving or coming home. She'd been sitting there for almost an hour. She was fine, she insisted. She was just resting. But she wasn't fine. And the truth is, she hadn't been fine for almost a year. The signs had all been there. The family had seen every one of them. They just hadn't known what they were looking at. That is the most painful sentence in elder care. We saw it. We just didn't know what it meant. Because the signs that a parent can no longer safely live alone almost never look like emergencies. They look like small, forgettable, ordinary moments. A missed bill, a strange phone call, a story repeated twice. And by the time the signs become impossible to ignore, the window to act gently on your parents' terms has usually already closed. So today, I'm going to show you the 3 signs that a parent can no longer safely live alone. The 3 that families miss most often and explain away most easily. I'll show you exactly what each one looks like, why your brain talks you out of seeing it, and what to actually do when you notice it. And then, because 3 is not the whole picture, I'm going to give you 2 more signs at the end. 2 that almost nobody talks about, that are quieter than the first 3 and in some ways more dangerous, because they don't look like decline at all. They look like normal life. Stay with me to the end, because that 4th sign in particular is the one I wish every family knew to watch for. Let's begin. Before we get to the signs, I need you to understand why this is so hard to see in the first place, because it's not your fault, and it's not your parents'. There's a reason loving, attentive families miss these things. When a person declines slowly, over months and years, the people closest to them adjust to each small change as it arrives. Researchers call this a shifting baseline. Every new version of your parent quietly becomes the new normal in your mind. The forgetfulness that would have alarmed you if it appeared overnight feels acceptable when it creeps in 1 week at a time. You're not being negligent. Your brain is doing exactly what brains do, adapting. But that adaptation is precisely what blinds you. The people who notice decline most clearly are almost always the ones who see your parent rarely. The cousin who visits once a year is shocked. You, who calls every week, see nothing unusual. Hold on to that, because it tells you something important. If a relative who hasn't seen your parent in a while seems quietly concerned after a visit, do not dismiss it. They may be seeing the thing you've adjusted to. Now, the first sign that a parent can no longer safely live alone is not in their body, it's in their home. The house tells the truth long before your parent will. Here's why this matters so much. A person can hold themselves together for a phone call. They can hold themselves together for a 1-hour visit on a good day. They can put on clean clothes, make a pot of coffee, tell a few familiar stories, and send you home reassured. What they cannot do is fake an entire household day after day when no one is watching. So the home becomes the most honest witness you have. The next time you visit your parent, I want you to do something that will feel almost rude. I want you to walk through the house slowly and look at it the way a stranger would. Not the way a loving child looks at the home they grew up in, the way an inspector looks at a building. Start with the mail. Is it piling up unopened? Are there second notices, final notices, envelopes from utility companies stamped in red? One of the earliest and most reliable signs of decline is a person who has always paid their bills on time suddenly letting them slip. Or, just as telling, paying the same bill 2 or 3 times because they don't remember doing it. Money management is one of the first complex skills to erode, often long before anything else is obvious. Then, go to the kitchen. Open the refrigerator. Is it nearly empty or full of food that expired weeks ago? Are there pots with burned bottoms or scorch marks near the stove? A parent who has stopped cooking real meals, who is living on crackers and tea and whatever doesn't require the stove, is often a parent who has quietly become afraid of the stove, or who can no longer manage the steps of preparing a meal. Then, look at the house itself. Is it dirtier than your parent would ever, in their prime, have tolerated? Is there a smell that wasn't there before? Are there stacks of things, clutter where there used to be order, a general sense that the person who kept this house has stopped being able to keep it? None of these things on its own is proof of anything. But together, they paint a picture that a cheerful phone voice cannot paint over. The home shows you what's actually happening in the 23 hours a day you are not there. And here is where families go wrong. They see the mail, the empty fridge, the mess, and they fix it. They pay the bills, they fill the refrigerator, they clean the house, and they go home feeling like they've helped. But cleaning the house doesn't address why the house got that way. You've treated the symptom and left the disease. If you find yourself doing more and more of your parents' basic life management on every visit, quietly handling the things they used to handle themselves, that is not you being a good child. That is the first sign, and it's telling you the gap between what your parent can do and what their life requires is growing. Don't just close the gap for them this week. Recognize what it means. The second sign that a parent can no longer safely live alone is the accident that gets explained away. The small fall, the fender bender, the burn on the hand, the bruise they can't account for. Here is the single most important thing I can tell you in this entire video, so listen closely. By the time a parent admits to one fall, there have almost always been several they never told you about. Older adults hide falls. They hide them deliberately, and they hide them well because they understand something with absolute clarity. That a fall, reported to their children, could be the beginning of the end of their independence. They know that if you find out they fell, you might decide they can't live alone anymore. So they don't tell you. They get themselves up off the floor. They cover the bruise with a sleeve. A hospital stay leads to a rehabilitation facility, and a frightening number of older adults who go into the hospital after a fall never return to living independently at all. The fall is the hinge on which the whole rest of the story turns. So, when you notice the signs of a fall, your parent is minimizing the new bruise, the careful way they're moving, the furniture that's been rearranged so they can hold on to things as they walk across a room. You are not looking at a minor incident. You are looking at a warning that the next one could be the one that changes everything. And the same logic applies to driving. The unexplained dent in the bumper, the scrape along the side of the car, the vague story about someone in a parking lot. A parent who is hiding small accidents on the road is a parent who may no longer be safe behind the wheel, and that is a danger not only to them, but to everyone else on it. When the small accidents start, and especially when they start getting explained away, the window is no longer wide open. It's beginning to close. The third sign is the one almost everyone misses because it isn't dramatic and it doesn't announce itself. The third sign is withdrawal. The parent who used to call every Sunday now sounds vague and far away, and the calls get shorter. The one who loved their garden hasn't been out in it for weeks. The one who never missed church, or the weekly card game, or lunch with the same group of friends they've had for 30 years, has quietly stopped going. And when you ask why, the answers are soft and easy to accept. Oh, I just didn't feel like it. The weather wasn't good. I was tired. We tend to file this under getting older or under sadness, and sometimes that's genuinely all it is. But very often, withdrawal is what it looks like when daily life has simply become too hard. This is why withdrawal is so dangerous. It's the sign that disguises itself as a choice. A parent who stops doing the things that connected them to the world isn't just losing those activities. They're losing the very relationships and routines that would otherwise alert other people that something is wrong. The friend who would have noticed Mum seemed confused doesn't see her anymore because Mum stopped coming. The withdrawal hides the decline that caused the withdrawal. It's a closing circle, and the more your parent pulls back, the fewer eyes there are on them, and the more invisible the decline becomes. Consider how this tends to unfold. A father in his late 70s, a widower, the kind of man who had a standing coffee with the same 3 friends every single morning for 2 decades. One morning, he doesn't go. Then he misses a week. When his daughter asks, he says, "The coffee shop got too noisy, too crowded. The parking was a hassle." Reasonable, easy to accept. What's actually happening is that he started having small moments of confusion in public, losing his train of thought mid-sentence, forgetting one of his friends' names, fumbling his wallet at the counter. And the shame of it is unbearable to a man who spent his whole life as the sharp one, the capable one. So he retreats, not because he wants to be alone, but because being alone is less humiliating than being seen struggling. And the moment he stops going, his 3 oldest friends, the 3 people most likely to have noticed his decline and said something to the family, lose sight of him completely. The daughter, 800 miles away, hears only the cheerful Sunday voice. The friends who could have warned her are gone from his life. Months pass before anyone realizes how far things have slipped, and by then, what could have been a gentle transition has become an emergency. That is the quiet arithmetic of withdrawal. Every connection your parent drops is one less alarm bell that can ring for them. So when you notice your parent going quiet, dropping the activities, shortening the calls, retreating from the people and places that used to define their week, do not simply accept the easy explanation. Ask gently, what's really making it hard? Because withdrawal is rarely the absence of desire. It's usually the presence of a struggle they don't want you to see. So those are the 3 signs. The home that stopped being maintained, the accidents that get explained away, the quiet withdrawal from life. If you're seeing even one of them clearly, it's time to act. Not next year, not after the holidays now, while you still have the gift of time and choice. And in a moment, I'm going to tell you exactly what acting looks like in concrete steps, so you're not left with worry and no plan. But first, I promised you 2 more signs. 2 that are quieter and, in their own way, even more dangerous than the 3 we've covered, because they don't look like decline at all. They look like ordinary life. I told you to stay for these, and here's why they matter so much. The 4th sign, the first of the 2 bonus signs, is changes in medication management. This one is invisible from the outside and absolutely critical, and it's the one I most wish families understood. Most older adults are managing not one medication, but several, sometimes 7, 8, 10 different prescriptions, taken at different times, some with food, some without, some that must never be combined. Managing that schedule is genuinely difficult, and it's one of the first things to break down when memory and organization start to slip. Here's what it looks like. Open your parents' medicine cabinet or wherever they keep their pills? Are there bottles that should be nearly empty but are still full, meaning they've been skipping doses? Are there bottles that are empty far too early, meaning they've been taking too much because they forgot they already took it? Are there expired medications, or duplicate prescriptions, or a pill organizer with the days all jumbled? A parent who is mismanaging medication is in real, immediate danger. Not the slow danger of the other signs, but the fast kind. Taking a heart medication twice, or skipping it entirely, or combining drugs that shouldn't be combined, can put someone in the hospital in a single day. And the cruel thing is that the confusion caused by mismanaged medication can itself look like worsening dementia, when sometimes the real problem is simply that the pills aren't being taken correctly. So check the medications. It's one of the most revealing 5-minute investigations you can do, and almost no one thinks to do it. And the fifth sign, the last one, is the most subtle of all, and in some ways the most heartbreaking, because it's the one that hides behind your parents' pride and their love for you. The fifth sign is the elaborate cover-up. It's the moment you realize your parent is putting real effort into hiding their decline from you. This is different from simply minimizing a fall. This is a pattern. It's the parent who knows you're visiting on Saturday, so they spend all of Friday exhausting themselves, cleaning the house, laying out food, rehearsing the stories, so that for the few hours you're there, everything looks fine. It's the parent who has a written list of things to remember to say to you, hidden by the phone, so the Sunday call sounds natural. It's the parent who has learned to steer every conversation away from the topics that would expose what they can no longer do. When you start to catch these performances, when you notice that the house is suspiciously perfect only when you visit, or that they get defensive and change the subject the moment certain things come up. When you start to catch these performances, when you notice that the house is suspiciously perfect only when you visit, or that they get defensive and change the subject the moment certain things come up, or that a sibling who dropped by unannounced saw a completely different reality than the one you see on scheduled visits. Understand what you are witnessing. You are watching someone you love spend their dwindling energy on the project of convincing you they're fine. They're not doing it to deceive you. They're doing it out of fear and out of love. Fear of losing their independence and love that doesn't want to become your burden. And that is why this fifth sign is so dangerous. The more your parent loves you and fears being a burden, the harder they will work to hide exactly the things you most need to see. The families who get blindsided are very often the ones with the most devoted, most self-sacrificing parents. Their decline was hidden not by accident, but on purpose, with care. The second step is to get more eyes on the situation. If you have siblings or family nearby, compare notes honestly, without blame. The sibling who visits unannounced sees a truth the scheduled visitor never will. If you're far away, this is exactly when distance becomes dangerous. And you may need to ask a trusted neighbor, a friend, or a professional to lay eyes on your parent regularly. The third step is to bring in a professional assessment before you're forced to. A doctor, a geriatric care manager, someone who evaluates this for a living can tell you in one visit what you've been agonizing over for months. Whether your parent can still safely be alone and what kind of help would close the gap. And the fourth step, the one that holds all the others together, is to start the conversation with your parent now, while it's calm, while it's still their choice. Not the conversation where you announce that things have to change. The conversation where you ask, where you sit beside them and say that you want to understand what they would want, while it's entirely up to them to decide. A parent who feels in control will accept far more help than a parent who feels managed. That single difference, asking instead of telling, is the thing that determines whether the years ahead are a war or a partnership. I want to be honest with you about something because I know what many of you are feeling right now. You're recognizing your own parent in these signs, and your stomach is tight, and a quiet voice is telling you that maybe you should have noticed sooner. Let that voice go. You did not miss these signs because you don't love your parent. You missed them because the human brain is built to adjust, because your parent worked hard to hide them, and because nobody ever sat you down and taught you what to look for. That's what this is for. You know now. And knowing now, today, while there is still time to act gently and on your parents' terms, is the single most loving thing you can do for them. The families who handle this well are not the ones who never felt afraid. They're the ones who let the fear move them to act instead of freezing them in place. This channel exists for exactly these moments. The signs, the conversations, the costs, and everything no one tells you until you're already in the middle of it. If this gave you something clearer to look for, or something real to do this week, that's the entire reason it's here. Subscribe so the next one reaches you before you need it, not after. These videos are meant to be the thing you're glad you watched a year early, instead of the thing you wish you'd seen in time. And do one thing for me before you go. In the comments, tell me which of these 5 signs you've already noticed in your own parent. You are far less alone in this than you feel right now. And you may be surprised how many people are quietly carrying the exact same worry tonight. If someone in your life has a parent living alone, share this with them. And you may be surprised how many people are quietly carrying the exact same worry tonight. If someone in your life has a parent living alone, share this with them. And you may be surprised how many people are quietly carrying the exact same worry tonight. If someone in your life has a parent living alone, share this with them. And you may be surprised how many people are quietly carrying the exact same worry tonight. If someone in your life has a parent living alone, share this with them. It might be the reason their family sees the signs while there's still time to do something about them. One important note before I let you go. I'm not a doctor, a lawyer, or a financial advisor, and nothing in this video is medical, legal, or financial advice. Every family and every parent is different, and only a qualified professional who actually examines your parent's situation can tell you what's right for them. What this channel gives you is the map and the questions to ask. The professionals help you walk the road. Please don't use anything here as a substitute for a real conversation with your parent's doctor. So, wherever you are tonight, whether your parent is still completely independent or whether you're already lying awake worrying, remember this. The signs are not your enemy. The signs are a gift if you're willing to see them. They are the only warning you get while there's still time to act with love instead of in crisis. Don't look away from them. Look closer, because the most dangerous thing you can do with a sign you've already seen is to tell yourself it's probably nothing. It's almost never nothing, and you already know that, or you wouldn't have watched this all the way to the end.